Maybe na time make Chidera know. Say she no be better person pass anybody for this school. I go teach am better lesson for this school. She no go dey raise shoulder again.
She had the guts to reject me. Who does she think she is?
We go show her.
Chidera, oh my God, you came! I said I would come, Obiajili. You must be thirsty. Don't be the only one holding an empty hand. Thank you. Let's see how proud she still looks by midnight.
Have you ever met a girl so beautiful that people hated her for it? A girl who smiled at everyone but was invited by almost no one. Chidera walked through the gates of the University of Lagos every morning with her head held high, and every morning eyes followed her, some in admiration, most in quiet resentment. What was it about her that made people so uncomfortable? Was it her beauty, or was it something else, something she carried inside her that they could not name? Stay with us as this story unfolds. Dear lovely viewers, if you enjoy stories like this, please support us by subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Now, let's begin. Lagos never slept, but Chidera's part of it moved slowly in the mornings. She lived in a small, self-contained apartment in Yaba, the kind with a narrow staircase and paint that had started to peel near the ceiling. It was not much, but it was hers, paid for with the little her late father had left behind, and the money she made tutoring secondary school students in the evenings. She was 21 years old, final year, mass communication, University of Lagos. Every morning she ironed her clothes carefully, even the simple ones. A plain blouse, a wrapper skirt, sometimes just jeans and a fitted top. She was not showing off. She simply believed that a person should look neat, whatever their pocket looked like. "Good morning, Chidera," the Akara seller outside her compound would call out. "Good morning, Mama Ngozi," she would reply, always with a smile, always stopping to buy 2 wraps of Akara before she hurried off. She was polite. She greeted the security men at the gate by name. She helped elderly women cross the busy road near the campus. She was, by every account, a kind girl, and yet she had almost no friends. "She thinks she's better than us," Ifeinwa Chukuma would say, rolling her eyes whenever Chidera walked past their reading group at the faculty building. "Look at her, walking like she owns the school." "It's not walking like anyone owns anything," her friend Obiajeli Namdi replied, though there was no real defense in her voice. "She's just quiet." "Quiet, Obiajeli? Proud," Ifeinwa snapped. "Have you ever heard her gist with anybody? She comes to class, she answers when the lecturer calls her, and she disappears. No hangout, no parties, nothing." The truth was simpler than jealousy wanted it to be. Chidera did not have money for parties. She did not have money for the small weekend trips her coursemates took to Lekki, or the expensive small chop spreads at birthday parties in Ikeja. She worked. She read. She went home. But nobody asked her why. They only saw a beautiful girl who kept to herself, and they built their own story around her silence. "Maybe she has a rich boyfriend somewhere," someone would whisper. "Maybe she just feels she's too fine for anybody," another would add. Nobody guessed the truth, that she went home every evening to teach 2 secondary school students mathematics and English for 6,000 naira a week, because her father had died when she was 17, and her mother's hair salon in Ajagunle barely covered rent, let alone school fees. Chidera never told anyone this. Pride, some might call it. But it was not pride. It was simply that she had learned, from a young age, not to hand people her pain like a gift they did not ask for. There was a boy named Chibuikem Eze in her department. Tall, wealthy, the kind of student who arrived at school in a black SUV with tinted windows and a driver who called him Ogre, even though he was only 23.
See, Chidera.
He had asked
accept me,
Chidera
I'm taking
out
care of you.
twice.
No, please,
I
I'm
can
not
take
interested.
care of you, he told her once, standing too close in the corridor outside the lecture hall. You don't need to be struggling like this. Just say yes. Thank you, Chibukem, she said, stepping back gently. But no. Why not? Look at other girls. They would die for this chance. Then maybe you should ask one of them, she said, and walked away. He did not take it well. Neither did Kelechi Obina, a postgraduate student who had tried his luck a semester before. Nor did Ugochukwu Adiele, an usher at the campus fellowship who everyone assumed was too spiritual to be bitter, but who spoke of Chidera's rejection to his friends, with a tightness in his jaw that betrayed him. 3 men, 3 rejections. 3 wounded egos that Chidera never thought about again, because to her, saying no was not a declaration of war, it was just an answer. But to them, it was something else entirely. It was Obiageli who first brought the 3 men and the girls together, though she would later tell herself she never meant for it to go the way it went. She thinks, she better pass everybody, Ifeinwa was saying one evening. The 4 of them, Ifeinwa, Obiageli, and 2 other girls, Adaeze Ibekwe and Somto Chukwu Ume, sitting in Ifeinwa's room in the female hostel, painting their nails and nursing old grudges like they were fine wine. You know Chibuikem still vexes any time her name is mentioned, Adaeze said, examining her nails. He told me she embarrassed him in front of everybody that day. Kelechi too, Somtochukwu added. The guy don't propose since 2 years now. She never even look am well. Ifeinwa's eyes lit up with an idea that she would later pretend was only a joke. Maybe na time make her know, say she know. Be better person pass anybody. What do you mean? Obiageli asked, though something in her chest already felt uneasy. I mean, make we invite her to Chibuikem's party this weekend. Everybody go day there, even Kelechi and Ugo. Make she come mix with normal people for once, instead of she dey form untouchable. She won't come, Obiageli said. You know she doesn't do parties. Then make we beg her small, Ifeinwa said, smiling in a way that did not reach her eyes. Tell her nah, just small girls hangout, no pressure, free food, free drinks. She go come. Nobody in that room said the word that was already forming in Chibuikem's mind when Ifeinwa called him that same night to say Chibiera might finally attend a party. Nobody said it out loud, not yet. But somewhere between Chibuikem's wounded pride, Kelechi's bitterness, and Ugochukwu's simmering resentment, an idea had already taken root. An idea so ugly that even the girls who first planted the seed of the invitation did not yet understand what kind of tree it would grow into. 2 days later, Obiageli knocked on Chidera's door. Chidera, it's me. Chidera opened the door, surprised. Obiageli was not exactly a friend, but she was, at least, the kindest of the group. Someone who had once lent Chidera her lecture notes without being asked twice. Obiageli, good evening. Is everything okay? Everything is fine, na, Obiageli said, smiling. I just came to invite you to something. Chibuikem is having a small party this Saturday. Nothing much, just some of us from the department. I thought maybe you'd like to come. You're always alone, and it's not good for a person to be so alone all the time. Chidera hesitated. Parties were not her world, but there was something in Obiageli's voice, a gentleness, a concern that felt, for once, genuine, that made her pause. I don't know, Chidera said slowly. I have lessons to teach that evening. Just for 1 hour now, Obiageli pressed. Come and go if you want. Nobody will force you to stay. Chidera looked at her for a long moment. She thought of her small apartment, the silence of her evenings, the way she sometimes ate dinner alone, with only the television for company. Perhaps, she thought, it would not hurt to try. Perhaps people were not as unkind as she often assumed. Okay, she said finally. I'll come, but just for a short while. Obiageli smiled, and if there was any guilt behind that smile, she buried it deep enough that even she could not see it clearly. Good, she said. You won't regret it. She would spend years afterward wondering if that had been a lie or a prayer. Saturday came fast, the way dreaded days always do. Chidera dressed modestly, a simple green gown, her hair packed back, small gold earrings that had belonged to her mother. She did not dress to impress anyone. She dressed the way she always did, neat, simple, herself. Chibukem's family house in Lekki Phase 1 was the kind of place Chidera had only seen in movies. High gates, marble floors, a swimming pool glowing blue under string lights, music thumping from speakers the size of refrigerators. Dozens of students filled the compound, dancing, laughing, drinks in hand. Chidera,
God,
you came.
I said I would.
Obiageli rushed over, genuine relief on her face, as though some part of her had hoped Chidera would stay home after all. I said I would, Chidera replied, smiling, despite the unease in her chest. Everything about the place felt too loud, too bright, too unfamiliar. Across the compound, near the bar area, Chibuikem watched her arrival with a small, satisfied smile. Beside him stood Kelechi and Ugochukwu, drinks in hand. She actually came, Kelechi muttered. Told you, Chibuikem said. Everybody has a price. Hers was just curiosity. So the plan still day? Ugochukwu asked quietly, his voice low enough that the music swallowed it before it could travel far. Chibukem's jaw tightened. Tonight, she go no say person. No de reject Chibukem eze. Come de waka free. None of them said the full plan aloud. Not even to each other, not completely. But each of them understood enough. A spiked drink, a quiet room upstairs, and a lesson they believed a woman like Chidera needed to learn about the price of her pride. For the first hour, everything felt almost normal. Obiageli stayed close to Chidera, introducing her to people, keeping the conversation light. Chidera even found herself laughing once or twice, surprised at how easy it felt to simply exist among people without the weight of her usual solitude. See, this isn't so bad, is it? Obiageli asked, smiling. No, Chidera admitted. It's not. It was Ifeyinwa who brought her the drink. Here, Ifeyinwa said, holding out a plastic cup of Chapman, her smile wide and warm, in a way Chidera had never seen from her before. You must be thirsty. Everybody is drinking. Don't be the only one holding an empty hand. Chidera hesitated only briefly. She did not drink often, but it was just Chapman. Mostly juice, mostly harmless. And Ifeyinwa's smile, though unfamiliar, seemed friendly enough. Thank you, Chidera said, accepting the cup. She did not see the way Ifeyinwa's eyes flicked toward Chibukem across the compound. She did not see the small nod he gave in return. She only tasted the sweetness of the drink, and beneath it, faint and strange, something bitter she could not place. By 11, the party had grown louder, wilder. Chidera felt strange, not drunk exactly, but heavy, slow, as though her thoughts were moving through thick water. I don't feel well, she told Obiageli, her words slightly slurred. I think I should go home. Obiageli's face changed. For the first time that night, real alarm flickered across it. Chidera, are you okay? How many cups did you drink? Just one, Chidera said, swaying slightly. I feel strange. Obiageli grabbed her arm, steadying her, and something cold settled in her stomach. She looked around for Ifeyinwa and found her standing near the staircase with Chibuikem, both of them watching Chidera with an expression Obiageli had never wanted to see on anyone's face. Ifeyinwa, Obiageli said, walking over quickly, dragging Chidera gently along. Ifeyinwa, what did you put in that drink? Nothing, Ifeyinwa said too quickly. She's probably just tired. Don't lie to me, Obiageli hissed, her voice shaking now. Look at her. She can barely stand. Chibuikem stepped forward, his voice smooth, dismissive. Relax, Obiageli. Take her upstairs to one of the guest rooms. Let her rest small. That's all. Upstairs? Obiageli felt her heart pounding. She looked at Chidera, whose eyes were half closed now, her body leaning heavily against Obiageli's shoulder. She looked at Chibuikem, at Kelechi standing behind him, at Ugochukwu hovering near the stairs like he was waiting for something. And in that moment, she understood. No, Obiageli said, her voice suddenly firm, despite the fear rising in her throat. No, I'm taking her home. She's not going anywhere, Chibuikem said, his voice losing its smoothness now, something harder underneath it. She came to my party. She'll leave when I say she can leave. Obiageli's hands trembled, but she held Chidera tighter. This is wrong. Whatever you people are planning, it's wrong. Nobody asked for your opinion, Kelechi said, stepping closer. Just go and enjoy the party. Leave this one to us. Samtachukwu appeared then, watching the scene with wide, uncertain eyes. And for the first time that night, she too felt the ground shifting beneath a plan that had sounded, days ago, like nothing more than harmless payback. Ifeyinwa, Samtachukwu whispered. What is this? You said we were just going to embarrass her small. Small, not this. Ifeyinwa said nothing. Her silence was answer enough. They took her upstairs. Obiageli tried to follow, but Ugochukwu blocked the staircase, his large frame filling the narrow space. This one no concern you, he said quietly. Go back to the party. Please, Obiageli begged, tears filling her eyes now. Please, don't do this. She's never done anything to you people. Please. But her pleading fell on ears that had already decided not to hear. Upstairs, in a large guest room with cold marble floors and heavy curtains drawn against the city lights outside, Chidera lay on the bed, her mind swimming in and out of clarity. She could hear voices, male voices, low and urgent, and somewhere beneath the fog clouding her thoughts, a single instinct screamed at her that something was terribly wrong. Please, she whispered, though she was not even sure whom she was speaking to. Please, I want to go home. Chibuikem's face appeared above her, his expression unreadable in the dim light. You should have just said yes, he said softly. It didn't have to be like this. Kelechi stood by the door. Ugochukwu had gone to make sure no one interrupted them. Chidera tried to sit up, tried to push away, but her limbs would not obey her. Fear, sharp and cold, cut through the haze of the drug, but her body remained trapped beneath its weight. Please, she said again, her voice breaking. Please, don't. Chibuikem leaned closer, and it was in that exact moment, as his hand reached toward her, as her voice cracked into something between a sob and a scream, as the door remained shut against her cries, that something happened, something none of them could have predicted, something that would change everything. But what was it? What could possibly stop three determined men in a locked room, in a house full of noise, loud enough to swallow any cry for help? Stay with us as this story unfolds. Part 2 is coming next, and what happens in that room will leave you speechless. The door burst open. Chibukem, wetin you dey do? It was Somtochukwu, no longer the quiet, uncertain girl who had followed Ifeyinwa's schemes without question. She stood in the doorway, chest heaving, having shoved past Ugochukwu on the stairs, with a strength she did not know she possessed. Behind her, filming with shaking hands, was Obiageli, her phone held high, capturing everything. Chibukem's hand frozen mid-reach, Kelechi's startled face by the door, Chidera on the bed, eyes wide with terror, tears streaming down her face. "Get away from her!" Somtochukwu screamed, rushing forward. Chibukem straightened quickly, his composure cracking. "This is not what it looks like. Not what it looks like." Obiageli's voice shook with fury and disbelief as she kept recording. "You drugged her. You dragged her up here. What exactly am I supposed to think this is?" Downstairs, the music still thumped, oblivious. But in that room, everything had changed in the span of 30 seconds. Kelechi tried to grab Obiageli's phone. "Delete that. Delete it now. Touch me and see." Obiageli snapped, stepping back, still recording, her thumbs steady, even as her whole body trembled. "The whole school will see this, before you even finish your sentence." Ugochukwu appeared in the doorway now too, breathing hard from having been shoved aside. "Wetin dey happen? Ask your friend," Somtochukwu said, gathering Chidera gently into her arms. Chidera was barely conscious, murmuring incoherently, her body limp with fear, and whatever had been slipped into her drink. "Ask him wetin he wan do to this girl." For a long, terrible moment, nobody moved. Chibukem's face had gone pale, his earlier bravado collapsing into something smaller, uglier, the face of a boy suddenly confronted with the weight of what he'd almost done. "Somebody should call security," Obiageli said, her voice finally breaking. "Somebody should call the police." What followed happened fast, the way true chaos always does. Somtochukwu half-carried, half-dragged Chidera down a back staircase, while Obiageli stayed behind, still recording, still refusing to back down, even as Chibukem pleaded, threatened, then pleaded again. "Please," he said, his voice cracking now. "Please, don't ruin me. I'll do anything." "You should have thought about that before," Obiageli said coldly, "before you tried to destroy someone's life." Downstairs, the party had already begun to notice something was wrong. Whispers spread faster than the music could drown them out. By the time Somtochukwu emerged into the compound, half carrying a barely conscious Chidera, dozens of eyes had already turned toward them. "Somebody help me," Somtochukwu shouted. "Please, she needs a hospital." A young man Chidera did not know, a final-year electrical engineering student named Kosisochukwu Anyanwu, who had come to the party with his cousin and knew none of the people involved, rushed forward without hesitation. "I have a car," he said quickly. "Let's take her now. No time to waste." Together, he and Somtochukwu got Chidera into his car, her head resting weakly against the seat, her eyes fluttering open and closed. Stay with me, Kosisochukwu said gently, glancing at her in the rearview mirror as he drove faster than the Lagos traffic laws technically allowed. You're going to be fine. Just stay awake, okay? Chidera, through the haze, heard his voice as though from very far away. She did not know this stranger, but something in his voice, steady, calm, unafraid, reached through the fog and gave her something to hold on to. Thank you, she whispered, before the darkness finally took her. She woke in a hospital bed the next morning, sunlight filtering weakly through half-closed blinds. Her head throbbed, her mouth was dry. For a moment, she did not know where she was or how she had gotten there. Then the memories returned, fragmented, terrifying. Chibuikem's face, the locked room, the fear that had swallowed her whole. You're awake. She turned. Samtochukwu sat in a chair beside the bed, dark circles under her eyes, clearly having not slept. Samtochukwu? Chidera's voice was hoarse. What happened? Tears filled Samtochukwu's eyes. I'm so sorry, Chidera. I'm so sorry. We didn't know it would go that far. We just wanted to embarrass you, teach you a lesson for rejecting them. We never imagined they would. Chidera's hands began to shake. They drugged me. Yes, they wanted to. She could not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Yes, Samtochukwu said again, softer this time, guilt written across every line of her face. But Obiageli stopped it. She recorded everything. Chibuikem, Kelechi, Ugochukwu. It's all there. Every second. Chidera closed her eyes, tears sliding down her temples into her hair. Why didn't anyone tell me? Why did nobody warn me? Because we were foolish, Samtochukwu said. Because we let jealousy blind us to what kind of people we were dealing with. I will carry this guilt forever, Chidera. I promise you that. A nurse entered then, checking Chidera's vitals, informing her gently that the toxicology results confirmed the presence of a sedative in her system. Evidence, cold and clinical, that would matter greatly in the days to come. Outside the room, in the hospital corridor, Obiageli paced with her phone in hand, the video already sent to 3 different people for safekeeping, her elder sister, her pastor, and, after much hesitation, the university's student affairs office. The story broke on campus like thunder. By Monday morning, whispers had become shouts. By Tuesday, the video, leaked, some said by Obiageli herself, though she never confirmed it, had spread across student WhatsApp groups, then Twitter, then local blogs hungry for scandal. Unilag students, attempt to assault coursemate, video evidence surfaces. One headline read, the university's disciplinary committee convened an emergency panel. Chibuikem Eze, Kelechi Obinna, and Ugochukwu Adiele were summoned before a room filled with lecturers, student representatives, and, silently, from a corner seat near the back, Chidera herself, dressed simply, her chin lifted, despite the exhaustion still visible beneath her eyes. Mr. Eze, the panel chairwoman said, her voice hard as steel, explain to this committee why footage exists of you standing over an unconscious female student in a locked room. Chibukim's lawyer, his father had sent one within hours of the video going viral, attempted excuses, technicalities, character testimonials. But the video did not lie. The toxicology report did not lie. And Obiageli, called to testify, did not waver. I heard him say it, she told the panel, her voice clear and unshaking. I heard Chibuikem Eze say Chidera needed to learn a lesson. I heard Kelechi Obina agree. I saw Ugochukwu Adiele block the stairs so no one could reach her. This was planned. This was not an accident. Whispers rippled through the room. Somewhere near the front, Chibuikem's mother, who had come hoping to defend her son, put her face in her hands. "And you, Miss Namdi?" the chairwoman asked Obiajili. "Why did you participate in inviting Miss Okafor to this party, knowing what was planned?" Obiajeli's voice broke, but she did not look away. "I did not know the full plan, Ma. I thought it was cruel gossip, a prank, nothing more. When I understood what they truly intended, I tried to stop it. I am not innocent, but I did not stay silent when it mattered most." The panel deliberated for 3 days. The verdict, when it came, was swift and severe. Chibuikem Eze, Kelechi Obinna, and Ugochukwu Adiele were expelled from the University of Lagos, their academic records marked permanently, their names formally reported to the police for attempted sexual assault and drug-facilitated assault charges. Chibukem's father, a well-known businessman in Victoria Island, tried to use his influence to quiet the matter, but the video had already traveled too far for money to erase. Ifeyin Wachukuma, though not present in the room, was suspended for 1 academic year for her role in orchestrating the drink and the invitation. Her defense, that she did not know it would go this far, offering little protection once the full plan came to light through Somtochukwu's testimony. Somtochukwu herself received a formal warning. Her cooperation and remorse weighed carefully against her initial involvement. Obiajeli was cleared of wrongdoing, the committee acknowledging that her intervention had prevented what could have become an unspeakable tragedy. And Chidera walked out of that hearing room into a Lagos afternoon that felt, for the first time in years, like it belonged to her. Chidera. She turned. Obiajeli stood a few feet away, hesitant, unsure if she deserved to be spoken to at all. "Thank you," Chidera said quietly, "for what you did that night, for what you did in there." Tears welled in Obiajeli's eyes again. "I should have protected you before it ever got that far. I'm sorry it took so long for me to do the right thing." Chidera reached out and squeezed her hand. "You did it when it counted most. That's what I'll remember." News of the incident spread beyond campus faster than anyone anticipated. A local news blog picked up the story, then a larger outlet, and within a week, Chidera's face, though she had asked, repeatedly, not to be photographed, appeared in articles about the dangers young women face, even among their own peers. It was through this unwanted publicity that an unexpected visitor found her, Chidera Okafor. She looked up from her small reading table outside the faculty library one afternoon to find a well-dressed woman standing before her, perhaps in her 50s, an air of quiet authority about her. "Yes, Ma. Can I help you? My name is Mrs. Chiamaka Obiora. I run a media foundation here in Lagos. We support young journalists and content creators, particularly young women who've shown courage in difficult circumstances." She smiled gently. "I read about what happened to you. I also read about how you conducted yourself throughout, with dignity, with restraint, even under such horror. I would like to offer you an internship at my company, with a scholarship attached, should you be interested." Chidera blinked, certain she had misheard. "Ma, you heard me correctly," Mrs. Obiora said. "The world needs more young women like you, women who do not let cruelty define them. Come by my office this week. We'll discuss the details properly." It was, Chidera would later say, the first piece of true good fortune life had handed her freely. without her having to fight tooth and nail for it. Weeks passed. Chidera began her internship at Obiora Media, a respected content and broadcasting firm in Victoria Island. She worked hard. She always worked hard. But for the first time, her effort was met not with suspicion or envy, but with genuine mentorship and respect. It was there, in the crowded newsroom on a rainy Thursday afternoon, that she saw him again. Chidera? She turned, and found herself looking into the same steady eyes that had once looked at her through a rearview mirror on the worst night of her life. Kosi Sochukwu? He smiled, clearly as surprised as she was. I didn't know you worked here. I just started, she said, feeling suddenly shy in a way she had not expected. I didn't get the chance to properly thank you that night. You saved my life. I was barely conscious. I don't even remember most of what happened, but Som Tochukwu told me everything you did. You don't need to thank me, he said. Anyone would have done the same. Not everyone would have, Chidera said quietly. Some people would have looked away. He held her gaze a moment longer than necessary before clearing his throat. I'm interning here too, actually. Broadcast engineering. Small world. Small world, she agreed, smiling. A real smile, warm and unguarded, the kind she had not allowed herself in a long time. Over the following months, their paths crossed often, in the newsroom, in the cafeteria, during long evenings when deadlines kept half the interns working late into the night. Kosi Sochukwu never pushed, never pressured her the way other men had. He simply remained present, steady, kind. The same quality that had made him stop his car outside a stranger's party and refuse to look away from someone else's suffering. Can I ask you something? Chidera said one evening, the two of them sharing a plate of suya from a vendor near the office after a long shift. Anything. Why did you help me that night? You didn't know me. You had no reason to get involved. Kosi Sochukwu considered the question seriously before answering. My mother raised me alone after my father passed, he said. She used to tell me, Kosi, if you ever see someone in trouble and you have the power to help, you help. Because one day, it might be someone who has no one else. That night, I looked at Som Tochukwu's face, and I looked at yours, and I knew you had no one else in that moment. So I did what my mother taught me. Chidera felt something warm settle in her chest, something she had almost forgotten how to feel. Safety. Your mother sounds like a wise woman, she said softly. She is, Kosi Sochukwu said. You'd like her. She'd like you too, I think. Months turned into a year. Chidera's internship became a full position after graduation. Her writing, sharp and empathetic, earned her a growing readership on the Foundation's platform, where she began writing about resilience, dignity, and the quiet strength of women, too often dismissed as proud, simply for holding their heads high. Her relationship with Kosi Sochukwu deepened slowly, carefully, the way trust rebuilds after it has been shattered, patient, unhurried, never forced. I used to think something was wrong with me, Chidera confessed to him one evening, the two of them sitting on the balcony of his small apartment in Yaba, the Lagos skyline glittering in the distance. Everyone said I was proud, that I thought I was better than them, but I was just surviving, working, trying to hold myself together after my father died. I didn't have room for anything else. You don't have to explain yourself to me, Kosi Sochukwu said gently, taking her hand in his. I've never once thought you were proud. I think you're one of the strongest people I've ever met. Tears filled her eyes, but for once, they were not tears of pain. My mother wants to meet you, he added, smiling. I've told her about you, She says any woman who survived what you survived and still chose kindness afterward must have the heart of a queen. Chidera laughed softly, wiping her eyes. Tell her I would love to meet her too. The visit to Kosisochukwu's mother's home in Surulere went better than either of them could have hoped. Mama Adaize Anyanwu, a warm, sharp-eyed widow who ran a small but thriving fabric business, took one look at Chidera and declared, within the first 10 minutes of their meeting, "This is the one, Kosi. Don't let her go." "Mama," Kosisochukwu laughed, embarrassed, while Chidera pressed a hand to her mouth to hide her own laughter. "I'm serious," Mama Adaize said, waving a stern finger. "A woman who has been through fire and still smiles the way this one smiles. That is not something you find twice." That night, Chidera called her own mother in Ajegunle, her voice thick with an emotion she could barely name. "Mama, I think I found someone good," she said. I think things are finally turning around for us." Her mother, who had worried herself sick over her daughter for years, wept quietly on the other end of the line. "God has not forgotten you, my daughter. He was only preparing the way." A year after that, on a warm December evening, Kosisochukwu invited Chidera to a rooftop restaurant overlooking the Lagos Lagoon. String lights strung overhead, the city's lights shimmering like scattered stars below them. "Chidera," he said, taking her hands in his voice trembling slightly despite his usual steadiness. "The first time I saw you, you were unconscious in the back of my car, and I promised myself I would do everything in my power to make sure you were safe. I did not know that night that I would spend the next 2 years falling in love with your strength, your kindness, the way you rebuild yourself again and again, no matter how many times life tries to break you." He knelt. Chidera's hands flew to her mouth, tears already spilling before he even finished speaking. "You are not proud," he continued, his voice steady now. "Sure, you are dignified. You are not distant. You are careful, because you learned the hard way that not everyone deserves easy access to your heart. But I want to spend the rest of my life earning that access every single day. Chidera Okafor, will you marry me?" "Yes," she said, laughing through her tears. "Yes, Kosi. 1,000 times, yes." The small crowd of onlookers on the rooftop erupted into applause. Somewhere in the back, unnoticed until that moment, stood Obiageli and Somtachukwu, both crying just as hard as Chidera, having been quietly invited by Kosisochukwu weeks before as a surprise. "We're so happy for you," Obiageli said, embracing her tightly once the ring had been properly admired by everyone present. "You deserve every bit of this joy." The wedding took place 6 months later, in a small but beautiful hall in Yaba, decorated simply in white and gold. Chidera's mother sat in the front row, dressed in her finest lace, tears streaming freely down her face as her daughter walked down the aisle. Mama Adaize sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. The two mothers bonded now by the love their children shared. Kosisochukwu stood at the altar, unable to take his eyes off Chidera as she approached, radiant in a simple, elegant gown that suited her far better than anything extravagant ever could. The vows were short, the tears were many. When the officiant finally pronounced them husband and wife, the small hall erupted into cheers, drumming and dancing, the celebration spilling out into the compound outside. Chidera's mother wept the entire evening, tears of grief for her late husband, who was not there to witness this day, mixed with tears of overwhelming gratitude for the life her daughter had built despite everything that had tried to break her. Dear lovely viewers, this story teaches us something important, that kindness and quiet strength are never weaknesses, no matter how the world tries to twist them into something shameful. Chidera was not proud. She was simply a young woman, carrying burdens no one bothered to ask about, holding herself together with a dignity that others mistook for arrogance because they did not understand what true resilience looks like. Envy can be a dangerous thing. It blinded people who should have known better into planning cruelty against someone who had never wronged them. But even in the darkest moment, when all seemed lost, courage, from an unlikely stranger, from a friend who found her conscience just in time, stepped in to change everything. What would you have done if you were Obiageli, standing at that door? Would you have found the courage to intervene, even against your own friends? And how many people around us, quiet and reserved like Chidera, are silently carrying weights we know nothing about? If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video, drop a comment telling us what part moved you the most, and share it with someone who needs to hear that good things can still come after our darkest moments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Thank you so much for watching, dear viewers. Take care of yourselves and keep spreading kindness wherever you go. We'll see you in the next story.